And I hope you enjoyed the classic 4-day cash machine, and I thought now in this video I would show you another twist on the same structure. So what I have for you is a countdown sequence process map, which I think you're already very familiar with, and what I'm going to do is walk you through how this works in a situation where you are not offering a discount such as half off, like 4-day cash machine, and where instead the motivator is an impending price hike. Now remember, in order for a countdown sequence to work, we must have a deadline, and I always use 4 days as an example, and that's always my preferred deadline time. I think that gives us enough time to stack the bonuses and really have multiple points of contact with this promotion. So thing one we need is a deadline. Thing two we need is a reason that it's going to go away. In this case, this is going to be that the price hike is coming, right? So the thing that the deadline is up against, it's up against the price hike. In our last example, the deadline was you're going to lose this 50% discount, right? A third way you could do it is these bonuses are going to go away. So what I'm going to do is walk you through this process briefly, and then I'm going to show you the swipe file of how I deployed this type of countdown sequence in a webinar funnel. So this is deployed after people attend a webinar but do not buy. And you could stick this type of countdown sequence really behind anything. You could stick it behind after a goodwill sequence. So if they go through the goodwill sequence and don't buy, you could put this here. You could put it after an angles sequence. If they go through an angles sequence and don't buy, you could do it completely out of the blue. It doesn't really matter, right? You can stick a sequence like this just about anywhere in your overall campaign, and it's going to generate sales and revenue for you and allow you to approach the buying proposition from a different standpoint. So let me walk you through it real quick. So email number one announces your first bonus, and you're going to want to have 2 or 3 or even more bonuses if you want to go crazy for this, but I'd say at least 2. All right, so email number one advertises your first bonus, and it really starts announcing that hard deadline. And I mean it, you need that deadline to be pretty serious, right? So I like to use you can use a WordPress plugin if you want to called Scarcity Samurai. Infusionsoft will actually make the link invalid or make it go to a sold out page after a certain date has passed. It's really, really cool. But it needs to be a real deadline. Now, examples of what the deadline can be. It can be price hike. So if you don't order by the 29th, the price is going to go up by XYZ. It could be a close of registration, a complete elimination of availability, so you can't get it at all if you wait past the deadline. It could be that the bonuses are not going to be available. It could be that they're going to get an uncool version of it versus the cool version of it, right? I guess where that would have less features or something. Doesn't matter, but there needs to be some sort of an incentive, a deadline-based incentive for them to order. My favorite are either the price hike or the complete absence of availability. Okay, so let's say you send them email number one. If they buy after that one, then we're not going to send them the rest, right? You're going to fulfill the product and you're going to upsell them if you choose, right? But if they don't, we wait a day and we send the second email. Second email gives them another bonus, and then it reminds them again of that deadline, that it's even closer. Now, if you're a mass control person, from early Mass Control 2.0, one of the most efficient things that I ever created in Mass Control was something called the death grip sequence. Now, the countdown sequence and the death grip sequence are one and the same. I just renamed it because death grip is so mean sounding, and really none of this has anything to do with making anyone feel bad or afraid at all. All we're really doing is stacking value. So psychologically, here's what's going on. First of all, as a deadline gets closer and the threat of not being able to get something or the threat of loss of a bargain looms near, the desire to purchase and the pressure that we place on ourselves to make that purchase becomes greater. And I learned that we could exponentially compound the level of pressure by simultaneously piling on more value as the deadline grew closer. And the way we do that is by adding additional bonuses. So that's what this countdown does. As the deadline draws closer to an end, or as the deadline simply draws closer, we add more bonuses to increase that value. So you have the scarcity pressure combined with and now magnified with the greed pressure, which is the ability to get more cool stuff as a bonus when you purchase now. So that's what makes it so effective and efficient. So day number 2, they simply send out You simply send out the announcement of the second bonus and a reminder for the deadline. If they don't buy, day number 3, you send them an overview. Say, hey, just want to let you know, you got just a couple more days left here. And by the way, when you order, you're also going to get all this free stuff. If they still don't buy, now you really just start making it all about the deadline. You say 24 hours left or final notice, right? Deadline is midnight tonight or midnight tomorrow or whenever it may be. And then you again mention those 2 bonuses or however many bonuses you have available. You could actually, if you want to, add a bonus with every single email. You could add a new bonus if you want to. That would likely work even better. Then, of course, your final email, I like to program it to go 12 hours before the deadline is set, which will say final notice or price hike in 12 hours or something like that. If you want to, you can even add another one to go out 6 hours and another one to go out 30 minutes. You know, it's really up to you, right? But this basic formula is what I use. I set the deadline for this whole thing as a 4-day experience from start to finish, and I send out a total of 5 emails, right? So speaking of the emails, how about I open up that email swipe file and start walking you through how the emails work. So let's see here. Oh, that's the countdown sequence. Let me get this file for you. Come on, that's the wrong one. There we go. Okay, so I'll pull this up and I will enlarge the file. Let's see if Pages will cooperate with us here. Yes, it will. Awesome. That's the way you can see it, right? So here we go. If they still haven't purchased, this is when it's deployed. So notice email number 1 is 4 days prior to the deadline. Now I want you to know that the deadline is counted at midnight, actually on day 3. So technically it's 4 days calendar-wise, but it's not that full 92 or 96 hours, right? So on midnight of day 3, technically it has now become day 4, which is the deadline. So it's actually a little bit shorter than 4 days, right? So the subject line is name breaking news. Now remember, these are people who have gone to your webinar. They have seen your indoctrination. They've seen your objection handling videos. They're very familiar with you. All of this stuff is going to have high response. And something else I want you to know is that when they're looking at this email in their email client, what they're going to see is name breaking news. This is before they open it. They'll see Frank breaking news, and then they're going to see Frank, good news and bad news, good news first. I've decided, and that's about as much as they'll see. So they're going to be teased, right? And they're going to want to open the email because they see breaking news, good news and bad news, good news first. I've decided. What has he decided? And they're going to want to open up the email. That's a big deal. You always want to make sure that the first couple lines of your email are something that's really going to tease them when they're in their Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo or Mac clients or whatever, because you get that little preview of what's in the email before you actually open it. And that preview needs to sell it, kind of like a teaser copy on an envelope, So we go on to say the announcement of bonus number 1, which is right here. I've decided to include a free live workshop for everyone who attends my advanced consulting class. It'll be held here in La Jolla in late October, and we'll be doing nothing but implementation. Not a seminar, but a boot camp. No lame guests, blah, blah, blah. Now for the bad news. Now, if you look at this whole block here, what I've done is just simply announce the bonus and the benefit of the bonus, right? And now what I'm going to do, you remember what the process map says to do? We announce and really start making a big deal out of that deadline. Now for the bad news. I've decided to keep the class small and not do a launch. It's better this way because I'll be able to answer your questions better and give each student more time and attention. Therefore, if you think about this, what is this? This is a big reason why this has occurred right here, right? I go on. Because of this, I've set up a deadline for registration. The class goes up by $1,080 on date. And of course, I would write in the date here that it's going to go up by, right? So it's likely now or never. If you want to save the money, come to a live workshop with me personally here in La Jolla, go here and enroll now. Again, the price goes up by $1,080 on date if it hasn't sold out already. At this point, I have no plans to teach the class live again. You can enroll here, right? So it's very, very simple adherence to procedure that I showed you in that process map, right? Which, of course, you have available to you as a download under this video. So simply announce bonus number 1 and then at the same time make a big deal out of the fact that the deadline is near. So what do we do now? Well, if they still haven't purchased, we wait a day here for day number 2. And it's time for email number 2. So this is just sent the very next day, 1 day later. Now, technically, it's 3 days before the deadline. And I like to use this subject line, like a $10K check payable to Rick James, right? So I just import their first name and their last name. I merge it here. Again, I want you to think about what's happening from their perspective while they're looking at this email before opening it. They're going to see this subject line and they're going to see this language right here. So all of this, I'm giving you another bonus that's like a $10,000 check payable to your name. Here's the scoop, right? That's going to make them want to open that email, right? So we begin and all I'm doing right here, by the way, in this little chunk is announcing the second bonus. That's it, right? So exactly like what it says to do in the process map. So I'm giving you another bonus. It's like a $10K check payable to first name, last name. Here's the scoop. Between July and November of last year, I sold close to $1 million worth of small virtual classes using a unique process I call the magic model. And I created a $10,000 training that shows how I did it, walking you through benefit, feature, etc. Anyway, this class sold like crazy, and I want to give you the online access as a bonus when you take my consulting class. And then you always want to have this reason why. Why would I give away something so valuable? It's simple. In the consulting class, you'll learn how to generate lots of leads for your practice. But there are two problems. Not all of them will become clients. It's really not possible to take all as clients, even if you wanted to, because there's not enough time in the day. Both of these problems present you with a unique opportunity to generate more revenue by implementing this magic model approach. So by giving it to you, we're both winning. All I'm doing right here is incorporating reason why I'm giving it to you, right, along with the benefits of taking the class. I win because it helps you, my client, even more, and you're therefore going to be more likely to tell your friends about me and continue to do business with me. You win because you're getting a $10,000 training that shows you a second way to generate revenue in your practice as a gift. Pretty sweet, but there's a catch. The catch is this class is going up, and then what do? As soon as we're finished introducing bonus number 2, we go right back to hammering that deadline. So the catch is this class is going up in price on date. It's going up a lot by $1,080, and if it hasn't sold out yet, which is looking likely. So if you'd like to get a free bonus worth $10,000 and save $1,080, enroll here. And then in the PS, what you want to do is remind them of bonus number 1, which is what you reminded them of yesterday, or what you announced yesterday. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. P.S. Don't forget, I'm also including a live boot camp for all students who take this class. This boot camp will be for students only, and it's not available for sale at any price, right? And here's the reason I'm doing that. So again, when we talk about reason why, really big deal. I'm doing this because I found that when we all get together at the end of a training and compare notes with each other, it's like everything kicking into turbo mode because of all the collaboration that happens. Plus, it's just a good time. And then again, the mention of the deadline. Right? So that's very, very simple formulaic process there for email number 2, for all of these emails actually. So here's email number 3, and this goes out now 2 days before the deadline. So we're getting pretty close, right? And this is the one where we do kind of an overview. So there's no announcement here. We're just kind of making them aware of the situation. And of course, if they've already bought, they're not going to get this, right? So pretty simple. Frank, FYI. Frank, quick heads up on some stuff. Announcement of bonus, number 1, and then explanation of benefits and reason why. Announcement of bonus number 2, explanation of benefits and reason why, and then restatement of deadline. And that's it. So it's just explanation of benefit, or rather announcement of bonus 1, announcement of bonus 2, explain benefits and reason why to each, and then restate deadline. And that's it. Very, very simple for the third email in that sequence. So for email number 4, this goes out 1 day later. Now the deadline is midnight tomorrow, so technically it's not a full day, I suppose. I usually have mine go out at 7 in the morning, so I like truthfully 24 hours, and then it would be 7 o'clock the next morning, but I think that's just a technicality, so I think you get what I mean there. So now is when we really want to start hammering this deadline, right? Because we've got about 24 hours to go here. And that's a big deal. So we've already reminded them of the bonuses and everything, so now it's time to really play up the scarcity, which again needs to be legitimate and real. So the subject line is deadline is midnight. Frank, the consulting class goes up by 10:80 at midnight PST tonight. And if the savings alone aren't worth taking action now, I've also added some great bonuses that'll help you a lot. And then boom, explanation of bonuses again. And really, if you go back and look at the other emails, I'm simply cutting and pasting the same explanation of bonuses each time. I put the link down here, and then again, reiteration of the deadline. And then now what I want to do is for email number 5, the final email, is 12 hours before the deadline hits. So deadline is at midnight tonight. It'll go out at noon. Pacific time for that day, and it'll say price hike, 12 hours to go, right? And why am I saying price hike? Because my thing that happens at my deadline is that the price goes up. So I say contact first name. The price for the consulting class is going up at midnight Pacific tonight. And then look, it's almost identical to the email for email number 4, right? I'm just sending it again because they still haven't purchased. So, and I put this as a hyperlink right here. So that's how we do it, right? Pretty easy. So what I want to do for you now is show you in our next video how to actually build this out in an automated fashion. So it's work that you can do one time and then walk away and have it generate sales from you in perpetuity without you having to continuously do any extra labor. So we'll get to that in the next video.